Aldis, I'm a private individual.
And you are testifying against the...
Yes, against the bill. And, the whole issue of this is what people seem to be somewhat concerned about is safety. To me, it's going to have to be total, but we really don't see any incidents of people being venomous or any type of alarming rate. And I think what I would like to point out to you is if you look at other animals in the states in the U.S., and when you look at the statistics in terms of mortality, people have a random encounter, they have a predictable encounter. You'll see that horses, basically the number one killer, is about 210 people per year, and deer at 150. Bees at 90 to 100, and then you have dogs at about 14. And then you have venomous snake bites from native species, comes in about 5 to 10 per year. And there's rarely has ever been a recorded death from a venomous snake from a non-native venomous snake. I don't have any non-native venomous snakes. That's what the restrictors, but my concern is this whole slippery slope that they alluded to. Is just once you get on that path, it's going to continue to chisel away and take away people's hobby, their enjoyment, what they prefer to do instead of work all the time. And I look at this and I see Texas Parks and Wildlife. How will they create a permitting process that would, I guess they would, they would really not create liability for the state of Texas? Because who is someone going to sue when y'all issue a permit to a poisonous snake, or someone has a poisonous snake venomous, and then someone gets bit by chance, which hasn't happened really, but their lawyer is basically going to sue Texas Parks and Wildlife because they issued a permit. So that could be an unforeseen consequence of this bill. Because you look at this bill and what's the motivation for it? And if someone were really concerned about public safety, would not part of these funds be perhaps devoted to buying anti-venom as opposed to just relying on zoo stocks? If you're going to take a survey and find out what venomous snakes are not native to the U.S. and native in the state, well then why would you not take part of that money and buy anti-venom stocks? So if there was the case of any venomation, you would not, the chances would be extremely reduced that you would have anybody die from venomation from a non-native venomous snake. So I still don't see that safety is an issue that's been brought into this legislation. And it's particularly when you look at all the other animals that people have random encounters with and you just, get killed. Another thing that's been somewhat ignored is people aren't aware of medical research that's being done with snake venom. And if you survey the literature and the letter I've given you, you'll see that venomous snake venom has been used as pellet treatment for pain, as a substitute for morphine, heart attack, stroke, cancer, multiple sclerosis, AIDS, ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, and for particularly for heart patients, you have what's called the ACE inhibitor, which basically is a drug that's based on the development of snake venom. And that's used to basically prevent a second heart attack when someone comes out of the hospital. Someone assumes that, these snakes are also in the ground, but that's not always true. And you assume, well, some state institution would basically keep this collection of poisonous snakes, and they didn't maintain it. State institutions don't, the people that do research on anti-venom or venom, they don't keep their own poison stock. That's not their specialty. So by sort of creating barriers to this view, I think you basically really end up stifling the skill set that someone would need to actually care for these animals and provide them for society. And so, in a way, I think basically the service to the public by trying to go down and outlaw venomous snake ownership as non-native to this country. But that resource may not be available to this country in the future. Those countries, they put it on the first species list. We can't get it. And then who's going to get the venom to do that research? So I think, there's a lot of other issues that go to be considered. And a couple of things. And, I look at Texas Parks and Wildlife, I just don't really see how you expect them to come up with policies that would private ownership of the animals, particularly if you've got medical needs, or there's potential liability issues that could play into this. And then if you look at the statistics each year, how Texas Parks and Wildlife really balances threat of every year. Well, when people die from, well, they die from deer. 150 people, whatever in the U.S. out of deer. And then it's really more of a very parallel, similar encounter to how we look at a snake. You drive down the highway, bam, one jumps out in front of you, you hit it, and maybe people trying to you just have vehicles. But if you're walking on a trail, you might step on a poisonous snake because you just didn't see it. The chance to encounter is still very much the same type of probability. The last thing that we're going to look at is further just looking at this deer issue, and I don't mean to concentrate on something, but that's something that everybody thinks, well, deer are just great. Don't you just love them? I got them on my land and so on. The Texas House of Representatives is really concerned about safety. And why aren't we maybe want to pass a tax against any property, at least for deer hunting, or maybe land set aside for deer propagation? Would you tax deer corn because people are feeding the deer? Because these people that are doing this, they're not. I mean, they're getting the money, basically getting their leases, getting subsidized because they're getting lease payments, and they bear none of the responsibility for the liability. Whether it's 150 deaths per year, or whether it's the $1.1 billion in profit from automobile collectors that people get on the insurance industry. So I really think you guys, your representatives, are kind of looking down the wrong path in terms of what's a greater risk or what's a greater threat. I'm very fortunate that I get to travel quite a bit around the world, and probably 25 plus countries and so on. As I travel, you find more and more that people don't look like U.S. citizens that much anymore just because of the policies. I look at this bill and I think, well, what are we doing? Because we're legislators continually attacking foreign people coming to this country. We're trying to make it harder for the country. And what are we doing? We're going to attack foreign snakes to prevent them from being part of the country. Of course, we'll fight for everybody here. This is an emotional issue, but I just kind of think that we're going down a very wrong path and trying to attack a problem that isn't there.
Do you supply venom to the medical research? You spoke quite a bit on venom being supplied.
No, but I do have it International Herpetological Society had their meeting in San Antonio last summer, and they had several surveys of people that presented on venom facilities around the world for venom production. And I don't supply venom. It's a risk that I don't really want to pull around too much. I would catch them, we look at what's snake any time. But that's because I do have the experience of at least knowing what to expect. For me, it's a hobby. It's something I can do after work, and my kids enjoy all the snakes. And wife doesn't too much, but that's don't talk about that.
You get to keep any snakes in the house?
They're in the garage.
I know it's a very emotional issue for you, but know that it's, we as a committee, we hear the testimony from both sides of this. Because a bill has been introduced does not make it law, and that's why we go through this process.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean everybody on this committee supports or is opposed to it. So, because I kind of felt like you felt like that we were all ready just to pounce on this and push it through, and it's we haven't heard all the debate yet. I just tell it's this is very important. I want you to know that it's nothing signed, sealed, and delivered in this process until it gets all the way beyond the government. Yes. Questions? Thank you very much for your testimony.